Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be the Anti-TBR Book Tag. This was created by Nicole and her books over on her channel. It was an original tag. I will make sure to link that all down below so that you guys can go and see it. It's really awesome. She's got a lot of controversial opinions and people were giving her hate for it, but that's stupid. So I guess just to cover all of our bases here, everybody's opinion is equally valid. I will probably talk about some books that you don't love. You probably love some books that I don't. You know, it's whatever. Everybody has their own opinions. It's totally fine. And let's get right into it. I have my tablet right here with the questions, and the very first question is a popular book that everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. There's probably a lot of these, in all honesty. A popular book that everybody loves that I have no interest in reading. This is probably any contemporary fiction. Like, don't get me wrong, I love romance. I will always love romance. I will always read romance, pretty much of any kind. But like contemporary fiction, and I'm talking like John Green or like, I don't know, like Becky Albertalli. So like, I guess my answer would be like Looking for Alaska or what's the other one? Jodi Picoult. I have like no interest in reading anything by Jodi Picoult, and she was all the rage when I was in junior high. I've never been interested, like, at all. I've never really cared about any of those things. So, I guess My Sister's Keeper, or Looking for Alaska, or, like, anything that they've written. What's the other one? With the people with cancer? I don't know. I didn't even watch the movie. It just sounds so depressing. Like, why would I want to? I've never cared. I've never wanted to. So, yeah, we'll just leave it there. Question number 2 is a classic book or author that you have no interest in reading. This is hard for me because I will say that I generally am not interested in most classics, and this is really funny because I have like an entire classic section on my bookshelf. But those are only the ones that I'm really interested in, like The Man in the Iron Mask, The Count of Monte Cristo, like interesting stories that were made into interesting movies, which is how I got interested in them in the first place. So I guess my answer would be like all of the ones that I don't care for. I've literally already been forced to read in high school. So I guess like Of Mice and Men, A Brave New World, maybe controversial, but Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that movie creeped me out as a child and I never really liked it. I don't like that one. I don't like the remake that they did of it like recently. I've never really liked Alice in Wonderland. So I guess we'll go with that also. Question number 3 is an author whose books you have no interest in reading, or a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. There's cat hair floating everywhere, so I apologize. There are probably a few. I don't know. I'm not up on the current Twitter scandals to know who's currently being problematic. I think Rainbow Rowell probably. So I've read Carry On and Wayward Son, and I've read Fangirl. Rainbow Rowell, I think, will probably be my answer. I read Carry On first, and I actually really enjoyed Carry On. I did not really enjoy Wayward Son, and then I read Fangirl, and I didn't, like, at the time I thought that I was enjoying it, but then I thought back on it, and it just kept dropping further and further star-wise. So I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I thought I did. So yeah, and I'm not interested in, like, Landline or Eleanor and Park, which is supposed to be like super racist, and as a half Asian, like bad portrayal of Asians. Oh, are you done with me now? In books is like not something I'm ever interested in reading, so I guess I'll say Rainbow Rowell. Like all of her stuff just kind of, no offense to anybody that loves her writing. I've heard she's not a great human being either, but whatever. But I don't know, her writing has always just seemed super pretentious to me, and I've never been interested in any of her other stuff. The only thing that got me interested in it was Carry On, because it sounded like a queer, like, Harry Potter kind of a deal, and I was there for that. The sequel didn't follow through, so I kind of have stopped caring about it since, and, like, the source material for it, Fangirl, was not as great, so I think I've kind of just given up there as a whole. Question number 4 is an author that you have read a couple of books from and then you have decided that they are not for you. So, I mean, other than Rainbow Rowell, because I just answered that question, I think that I'm gonna say Maggie Stiefvater. This is like, I'm also going to put a disclaimer on this entire video that, like, I guess this is not me saying that I'm never going to read any of these books, because I don't like saying that. Like, I don't like to DNF things permanently. I have FOMO, guys. It's whatever. But, yeah, I think Maggie's Stiefvater. I've tried the Raven Boys, and I've tried the Scorpio Races, and I started Shiver, all of those within the last year. And I didn't like Scorpio Races. I had to force myself through that book. I didn't like Raven Boys. I mean, I didn't, like, hate Raven Boys, but I also didn't, like, see the point to Raven Boys. It just felt like nothing was going anywhere, and they were all just kind of wandering around trying to figure out something. I don't even know. And then I started Shiver. Like, a werewolf teenage romance was right up my alley. It will always be right up my alley. I have a soft spot for that. I couldn't even make it past the first few pages, so I really don't know. I don't want to say that I'm never going to read anything by her, but, like, for right now, I don't think she's for me. I just think that her writing style does not mesh very well with my reading style. Maybe that'll change in the future. Who knows? We'll see. The next one is a genre that you have no interest in or tried to get into and you couldn't. Other than most classics, I think that I'm going to say contemporary fiction or, like, literary fiction. I have tried, like I said, the whole John Green, is there a Hank Green? I don't even know. Like, Jodi Picoult type books are just, they're not something that interest me. They never have been. So whatever you would call that, like contemporary young adult, contemporary adult fiction, it's not my thing. I've tried. I can't get into it. It is what it is. Number 6 is a book that you have bought but will never read or returned unread to your library or whatever. I don't generally buy... I take that back. I'm not going to say that I don't buy books without the intention of reading them, because I have an entire box of books that I'm planning on unhauling that I have bought but technically have not read a lot of. I'm going to blame that on those, like, $5 bag library sales and not count that, because that was just me piling as many books as I could fit into a bag and paying $5 for them, and I will not be ashamed of that. I've gotten away from that over the last year, and I do only try to buy books that I am interested in reading, so I don't think that I have anything that would count for that. But I will say that I have returned a book that I've bought on Kindle, not even to my library, although I've gotten a couple of those also. But I am going to say I think it's The Air by Kira Cass. And again, this is not permanent. Who's to say I'm never going to read it? I have heard that, like, this spin-off series gets better after the first book, but I loved the Selection series. I blew through all of those books. They're a guilty pleasure of mine, and I adored them. And then I found out about the spin-off series, and I immediately pre-ordered it, and The Air, I want to say it's The Air, I think it's The Air, came out. I read the first few pages, and the daughter of the couple in the first series was so incredibly annoying and irritating and pretentious and spoiled. I couldn't do it. Like, I don't know if she redeemed herself later on. I assume so, because people like that spinoff, and I don't see them liking that spinoff if she stayed the same and had no character growth. But, like, as it was, I couldn't even make it past the first couple of chapters. So I immediately returned that ebook and never picked it up again. I have since heard that she got better after that. I don't know if I'm ever going to pick it back up, in all honesty, but as it stands right now, that was a really long answer, but that's my answer. Number 7 is a series that you have no interest in reading, or you've started and you have since DNF'd. There's a couple. I will say A Cruel Prince is one of them. I already talked about the Raven Boys, and let's see, what else is there? Caraval and Three Dark Crowns. So I think I've talked about my general, it's not a hatred, but it's like a dislike of all 4 of these series in various videos on my channel, and I don't know, they were not for me. With The Cruel Prince, some people like morally gray main characters. I just couldn't get behind any of them. I didn't feel a need to root for any of them. it really wasn't for me. I don't know if that would change in other books. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the other books, but as of right now, I don't really feel like it, because I don't want to, because I have other things that I would rather be reading. The Raven Boys, I just talked about that. I really didn't see a point in the entire plot of the first book. I have heard that it gets much better. Once again, I don't know. There are books that I have that I know I will enjoy that I would rather read first, so who's to say never, but right now, it's not likely. Three Dark Crowns, I don't have any reason for disliking this. I just couldn't really get into it. I guessed the plot twist, like, way early on in the book. I don't know if I was supposed to, or if it was really supposed to be surprising at the end. I'm kind of interested in picking up the rest of the series, but right now it's really just not high on my priority list, so I think for now we're just going to call the series a DNF, and the same goes for Caraval. I did not mesh with that book at all. I had to force myself through it. I did not like the setting. I did not like the characters. The circus, I guess the circus thing just doesn't do it for me. I didn't really like the night circus either. I can't really think of any circus things that I have read other than that I haven't liked. I have Where Dreams Descend. I need to read it still, so maybe that'll cement it for me if I like the circus thing or not. But as it stands right now, it's just not a theme that I like. Caraval, it just confused me. Like, I didn't like anything about it. I think that it could have been cool, but I just don't think that it was executed correctly. I've heard that I might like the second book better. I don't know what's different about it that would be the case. But again, not high on my priority list when I have so many other books that I would rather be reading. And I've also noticed, like, this is probably not the video to talk about this, but whatever, we're here, we're gonna do it anyway. I've kind of started to notice a shift in my reading. I do still love young adult fantasy. I will always love young adult fantasy. It'll always have a special place in my heart, but like where I'm at right now as a massive mood reader, I've been reading a lot of adult fantasy lately, which I used to do all the time as a kid. I did not read young adult, like, fantasy ever as a kid. I only ever read, like, adult fantasy series. And I'm getting back into that lately, and I'm really, really loving it, so who knows how long this trend will continue, but that is where I'm at right now. So you're going to be seeing a lot of just adult sci-fi and fantasy from me in the near future, because that's just what I seem to be picking up and gravitating towards more than young adult stuff. We really let that question get away from me, though, because that was way far from what the actual answer was, but yeah, those 4 series, those are my answer to this question. Question number 8 is a new release that you have no interest in reading. Hoo boy. I should probably be more up on new releases. So the easy answer to this question is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I read The Hunger Games when they were big, guys. I liked them when they were big, I guess. I wasn't obsessed with them in any way. If I were to pick my favorite dystopian YA series, I don't think Hunger Games would come near the top 5. They were okay. Katniss irritated me. Gale irritated me. Peeta irritated me. I just got irritated with a lot of characters. And I was really irritated with Snow as a character, and the fact that she made an entire, very lengthy book about him just confuses me, and I have literally zero desire to read anything involving that world ever again. I don't feel the need to go back and reread them. It doesn't interest me anymore. I was gonna try and look for a second answer to this question, but I can't find anything else that has been released recently that I don't care about as much as I don't care about The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I guess that will be my final answer. That's it for my anti-TBR book tag. I hope I didn't get too controversial with any of my opinions. I actually, in hindsight, realized this turned into me trashing a lot of, like, YA stuff that I didn't really like, but that's not because I haven't been in the mood for it recently. I just really genuinely didn't like them. So, no offense if those are your favorite books or series, they were just not for me, and I am happy that you love them and that they make you happy, and I guess that is it for me today, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!